As I said yesterday, today we are going to start from the very beginning, since when this sahajayoga started. When I talk to you, I have to again request that as a scientist, you must keep your mind absolutely open. And do not hang on to any point which comes up in your mind. But try to understand that whatever I am telling you is today maybe a hypothesis for you, but tomorrow it will become a complete scientific proof. For you have to understand the science of God's love. Perhaps people cannot understand that all the sciences have come from God Almighty Himself. To understand God's love and divinity, one has to open oneself to that absolute position from where all relativity disappears. We are living in the atmosphere of relativity. We have to find out our absolute. Unless and until we find out our absolute, we are always in confusion and we think that this may be alright or that may be alright. If this is alright, that could be alright. We try to decide everything through our rationality. As the Lord has already told you, rationality is a limited means. And I am talking of the unlimited. So if you have to go to unlimited, it has to be beyond the rationality. So with the open mind, I hope you will listen to me. After realization, when the power starts flowing through you, then you will be able to know how to maneuver it, how to understand it, and how to keep it moving. Like one would explain about electricity first, then give you an experiment with the electricity flowing and explain to you how to use it. By using the electricity, you will be convinced that it is a scientific proof. I could have started the lecture from creation, but that would be too much to begin with. I would start it from your own being. When you are a human being, you are not aware as to what are you inside. As far as your physical body is concerned, doctors only see the outside of your being. The inner subtle forces which are creating you, which are looking after you, and which are making you exist, you are absolutely unaware of. In our being, there is first of all is the power which enters into our being from right hand side and goes to the left hand side, which we call as Mahakali Shakti, is the power of Mahakali. This Mahakali Shakti manifests within us a power which runs through the Ida Nadi. Now this Nadi or this subtle channel is inside the brain and inside the spinal cord. This being the energy, you cannot see it when it is dissected. For example, if you dissect this, you won't find the electricity flowing. This Ida Nadi on the left hand side gives us our existence, and at the side in the gross manifests our left sympathetic nervous system. We exist because of this Ida Nadi. This is also manifesting all our emotional side of life, which comes from our past. So it has all the past that is within us. So Ida Nadi manifests, or we can say accumulates, all that is our past, our deep. This is our existence. We take it for granted that exists. We do whatever we please in our ahankara, in our own understanding. We try to our level best to destroy ourselves, and we reach a point where we have to give up. This is all decided for you, how long you have to exist. It is all predestined. If you have to die at a point, you will die. There is no one who is going to stop that. So some people who come and tell me, Mother, somebody is dying or dead, can you make him live? If he has to live, he'll definitely live. Only the miracle of God makes you believe in him. But your time and of birth and death are absolutely destined, which must be accepted. It is not the way it is described in your kundalis or in your horoscopes. In the horoscope, for example, a gentleman was to die about 5-6 years back. And he came to me, he got his realization, and he lived much longer after that. He's still living. So he went to his Pandit and he asked him, how is it you had predicted that I'm going to die this year and still I'm living? Then he saw into the horoscope and he said, by the way, did you meet any great spiritual personality? He said, I did meet someone. He said, that's the reason. I should have told you that if you had met, if you meet this lady, then this will be avoided. And it was to be avoided, and he met me. So in a way there is a sanjoga always. Because you are here, you should not think that you have deliberately come here. But it was to be that you should be here. Now if you do not take the advantage of this sanyoga, that freedom is with you. But sanyogas are created by God. He organizes and arranges that you meet the right person, that you get the right thing. But it is left to your freedom to choose the right or the wrong. Mostly we go according to our own whims and understanding. Even then, if supposing our understanding was a pure understanding and a simple understanding, we would know, we would be very sensitive to know who is the real person and who is not. But normally when we live, we play with our existence. We try to minimize our sensitivity. This left side can be described also as a destructive side, because if it does not exist, it is destructive. It destroys you. That's why it is called also a destroying power. That by this power you can be destroyed. If you are not to be existing anymore, the same power can destroy you. Now this left side power is very important and is very, very vital for our country especially, where we have traditions within us. Left-sided people, those who are indulging into left side too much, are very emotional and they take to bhakti. If they take to bhakti, they'll go on calling God and working on that and doing all kinds of emotional expressions to get to God. This bhakti cult developed into our country, God knows how many years back, but has been working, and there have been many people who have been getting into this bhakti cult. But when you cross a certain limit of this left side, you enter into collective subconscious area. If this is the subconscious, then you go beyond that. If you go into collective subconscious, then you might find yourself attacked by people whom you do not know, or maybe you know. And that's how we get people to get possessed. All your emotional problems, all your mental problems, which are called as lunacy and all that are coming because of the defective behavior in this area. If you go into the left side area, as I told you, by any means, like supposing some people are very fond of going to the cemeteries. I don't know why, but there are some funny people like that. We had a doctor in London. He is a Russian doctor, but now he's in Australia. He came to me and he had a problem on this left-hand side, Idanad. And I was amazed. I said, how can this doctor from Russia and living in Australia and now in London can have such a problem like that? I asked him several questions. Do you live near a cemetery, or do you have somebody dead in your family? Have you wept for someone? Somebody has shocked you, or what has happened that this left side is so weak in you? Or have you indulged into too much of drug taking or something like that? He said, no, mother, I have not done anything like that. Neither have I been this way. Then I said, you try to remember. Then he remembered that his grandmother was very fond of going to the cemetery. And in his childhood, she used to take him in the pram. Then when he was walking also, she used to take him. Until he was quite old, she always used to take him to that cemetery. Just imagine. It's such a funny thing that we do not know in our past how we have indulged into this left-hand side activity. Now in our country, whatever traditions we have had, all of them mostly come from the great saints who have meditated. Not most of them, but I would say quite a lot of them. But we cannot say there is not a single tradition which is wrong in India. But the traditions can get perverted later on. But basically, if you see, our traditions are very sensible. Like when a person dies, whatever rituals we have is a very, very sensible ritual. We Indians are not aware of it, the rituals that we do. Of course, in that, when the Brahmins start taking money, that's the perversion. Nobody should take money if somebody is gone. It's very simple to do that because he'll be affected by the left-hand side attacks. Those people who do all this kind of work and earn money out of the death of others are very dangerously placed. Moreover, when you also find that somebody is dead in your family, so many people when they come to me, I find left-hand side is a problem in India. The reason is this: somebody is dead. Say the father has died early or a mother has died early. Then people start worrying about that person. If father has died at a very early age, supposing in the case of a girl who feels very insecure, all the time she is thinking about him, then that kind of a mind can create a problem on the left-hand side. And we have to clear it out. That's why very important what we do in India. Somebody dies, we start playing the band and all that, so that our ideas get out of it. Those people have died, have gone to another world. They have to go. They are not to hang around here. And we are not to keep them back and keep them under our bondage of our emotions. This we should understand. You see, in modern times, we just give up everything that was old is a very wrong thing. Because whatever they have discovered is of eternal. I have seen people, even if you tell them that you forget about it. Now don't worry about it. They won't listen, and then you find them getting into serious diseases like epilepsy, into lunacy and other mental troubles. Especially among women, we find hysteria develops if this kind of a problem is there. Now it is not easy to believe into a thing that there is something like dead bodies hanging around. It's very, very difficult for any educated man to believe into such a nonsense, but they do. You have to know that they do exist. Now that doesn't mean that you believe in their powers, but that you must know that they exist, and that's why you have to keep in your maryadas. You have to keep in the center and don't go too much on one side. In bhakti also, when people overdo it, like if they start weeping and crying and saying that, oh Lord, you must come and give us some darshan or something like that. Till evening they fast and they say that unless and until you appear before us, we are going to die. All these things, when you try, these emotional style of working it out, you cannot achieve, because this is your manasa, this is your mind. Through your mind, you cannot achieve God. By crying and weeping, you'll go into tantrums. You'll do all kinds of nonsensical things that people may think you are a madcap. They might think you are just acting, or I don't know what they will think. But you do not achieve anything by this kind of crying. For example, now we have in India, it started here, I think, this Hare Rama, Hare Krishna cult. These people are so funny that in Oxford Street, if you go in London, you'll find them wearing those dhotis and saris. They don't know how to wear and how to carry on with them. And taking a dholki in the hand, and with great gusto they are going on, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. And the sari falls off and the dhoti falls off, and they also wear those bodhis, you see, which are attached to the thing with a little glove, I think, or gum or something, because they don't have, so they have to buy it in the market. They have made a market of it. They are selling all these things in the market. They are selling the dhotis, they are selling this, they don't know how to wear dhotis, then there's somebody who will make you wear, they shave off their hair, they do all these things. बैठ जाइए, उठिए नहीं बीच में, लोगों का अटेंशन बहुत सेंसिटिव होता है, कोई खड़ा हो गया तो आप जरूर उसे देखें। इतना क्रिटिकल होना ठीक नहीं है। अच्छा, आप बाहर जाइए, क्योंकि आपके समझ में आने नहीं वाला हम क्यों क्रिटिकल है, आप बाहर जाइए। हमें जो कहना हमें कहने दीजिए, देखिए हमें जो कहना हमें कहने दीजिए, आपसे क्या क्रिटिकल, जहाँ क्रिटिकल है वहाँ क्रिटिकल होना है। वो तो आपको पता नहीं कि क्राइस्ट ने तो हंटर लेके मारा था इन लोगों को, हम तो कम से कम शब्दों से ही बोल रहे हैं। जो बात झूठ है वो झूठ है, और जो सच है वो सच है, और वो कहने में हमारी हिम्मत है, उसकी आप दाद दें। आपको अभी उसका अंदाजा हुआ नहीं है ना, आगे की सुन लीजिए एक मिनट। अच्छा, उससे what has happened with that? Why I am criticizing? Or with all these, when they come to me, they have cancer of the throat. Now, will you cure that? Will you cure that? It is very easy for you to shout here. This is not a political meeting that you come and talk. No, but you should understand what I am talking. They are suffering from cancer of the throat. देखिए, आपको अच्छा नहीं लगता है तो आप बाहर चले जाइए। जो मुझे कहना मैं कहूँगी, आपको सुना।
It is better she is critical. By critical being minded, you can understand
better. After all, I am
better.
not going to say that you go and do the same thing. You know, these boys, when they come to me, they are suffering from cancer of the throat. Now, is this gentleman going to cure? I have cured them, and I have to go through it. What has he done so far that he is talking? He should keep quiet, because he doesn't know anything. He has no authority. Just and please understand that this is not the way to listen to me. I'll say what I have to say. I'm not afraid of anyone. And if anything is wrong, I'm going to say it even if you crucify me.
Very good.
Now this is what I was going to, that if you do such a thing, extraordinary thing, you develop cancer. Yesterday only I had said, how do you get into sympathetic attitude? I'm just telling you, this is how you get into left hand sympathetic attitude. And do you know, cancer is caused by left hand problem, not by the right hand, which is physical. Just have some patience about it. This kind of nonsense if you start doing in the house, and if you get tomorrow the cancer, now I'll tell you exactly the name of the person and everything. I'm not afraid of anything, because I have cured it. I've got the proof of it and I can show you that. There was Dr. Muley, you can contact him, I don't know if he's come today. He sent one boy to me, only 12-year-old boy, suffering from leukemia. 12-year-old boy. And he came to me, he was suffering from leukemia. And when I went into his history and all that, I couldn't find any trace of his father going into any guru or any wrong type of a person. But when I asked him about his grandfather with whom this little boy was living, he had a guru. And I also know the name of the guru. And this boy was suffering from leukemia. Now, Mohammed Sahab has told us the methods how to get rid of these horrible gurus. You have to write the name of the guru and beat him with shoes. That's the only way you can cure. Now, at that time, nobody would say that you don't criticize, because the child is 12-year-old, suffering from leukemia, will die within 1 month's time. In all compassion, think of it. How dangerous it is, and I should not warn, I'm your mother. I'm not here for any political leadership or any sort of an election. In all compassion, I'm telling you that don't indulge into such things. Now, this fellow, when he got leukemia, and his father told me, I told him that you beat him with chair. He called his father. His father also had to beat that guru. You can ask Dr. Mulevi, there was no trace of leukemia. Within 3 days he cured. But we had to work hard. I'm not here to cure people. Why not I take precautionary measures? Supposing there's something wrong with the penicillin. Won't you say that something wrong with the penicillin? Is it criticism? Why should I criticize? What do I gain by that? I'm not earning any money out of you people. I'm not living on your any support. Why should I not criticize something that is to be criticized? Whatever is to be said has to be said by somebody. Somebody must have that much guts to say whatever is right, and whatever is wrong is wrong. So, we come to this left side problem, which I must tell you and warn you, that if you go too much on the left hand side, a kind of very funny situation develops. To such an extent you will be surprised. We have another boy his name is Ronnie in London. He's a very well educated boy, everything. And all the time what he does, he's crying. He's doing no work, sleeping in the bed. His name is Ronnie. I said this in Hindi is Roni. He called it Roni, see that? That's what he was. And his mother is fed up of it. Thrice I sent him to his mother. Then she said, Mother, I cannot bear this boy. He's just doing nothing, crying. I said, what did you do? You won't believe if I tell you what he did, that how these things are. He read Lord Byron by heart. By reading such things, it works on your mind. All these ideas of separation, I mean, he's not in separation at all. Nothing wrong with him. But you start identifying. Human beings have a habit to identify. When you start identifying with such things, you do get into troubles. And when you get into troubles, you get direct to the lunatic asylum without even knowing that you are getting mad. Madness. Lunacy, yesterday only there was a boy here who said, Mother, I have become mad now. They are going to put me in the lunatic asylum. Among you he was sitting. And he came and told me. Now, if I discover what sort of a thing he has, should I not tell you that this is the reason why people become mad and you just don't do it? We must understand that we always overdo things. Ati sadavarje. That's why it is written that it should be given up. We should keep to our maryadas. Don't go too much emotional also, nor too much intellectual, nor too much physical, but keep a middle path of everything. I am telling you this because this is one extreme I am describing to which we go. We Indians are specially gifted by emotional beauty, that's no doubt. But sometimes the way we are attached to things can take us to very wrong things. Like we may be attached to our family. It's a very good thing. You must do for your family, you must do for your children. In sahajayoga there is no place for any sannyasa. There is no place at all for any sannyasa. But that does not mean that you sell your country in the name of love. There are people you know who can sell their country. Now, this is a country where persons like Shri Rama have been able to send the wife, the one who was the power behind him in the jungle, just to have a proper public opinion. While we have people in this country, you know that for definite, so many of them are there, that just to look after their children, they do not mind doing anything wrong to their own countrymen. Is a very common disease with us, and we must know that we should not overdo it. If we do it, if we overdo it, the relapse comes in the form of so many diseases physically, and mentally we get disease. Such people can become mentally absolutely obsessed. They might become blind. They might become very, what you call, dislocated people. Their old age would be very difficult. They may develop gangrene. And they may develop even terrible heart troubles, heart attacks. All these things can follow, because if you are overdoing such a thing, it can work out. But surprisingly, it is a very great surprise that when you indulge too much into your emotions, we feel the person is getting a heart attack. Because of such a person will cry and weep and say all those things. But actually, if you show to the doctor, he'll say there's no heart attack. Actually, what happens that when you indulge too much into the left-hand side, your brain goes out. See how the nature has balanced. In any lunatic asylum, you go and find out, there won't be one heart attack case. They will look like that. But actually, if you see, you will not find even one person dying of heart attack, because the brain is affected. We are working with our heart and the brain goes out. See the balance the nature has got. So going to the extremes are controlled by the brain. On the left-hand side, one has to be careful as to how far to go.
What is meant by going left side?
No, that is what I am trying to say, is to be very emotional. Very emotional. You see, here say, ghazal baz log are, there are many here, I know that. They are very fond of ghazals. Now these ghazals are, some of them are sung in the name of God, in Milan, in meeting with God, in meeting, whatever is sung is beautiful. But all the time singing of separation is the beginning of the end. Then you start feeling you are so miserable. You will have thousands of things around, but still you will be miserable. You think, oh, what a miserable life I am. I am good for nothing. I have done this thing wrong. You will be torturing your wife and sulking about it. You won't talk to her. She'll say that, why are you not talking to me? You will say, I am so moody. This is the beginning. It starts like that. Then you start reading things, how people have been tortured, what has happened to them. Then with that you start also going, you see the attention starts moving on the left hand side. Then you start attention on the dead. I met the other day a very young girl, very young, you won't believe, hardly 21, just engaged. Very good girl. Her left side was all finished. I said, what books are you reading? Because I could not think of anything else in her case. And she gave me this third eye fellow, and then what is that another one? I don't know, so many names she gave. They are discussing all about the dead and the devil. Why do you want, I asked her, to read about a devil? Are you going to become a devil? I mean, the thing is, the knowledge which you are not going to use, why do you want to get into? So indulging all these things take you to that. Then further, you can go to some guru who is an expert on Preta Vidya, Smashana Vidya, Bhuta Vidya. The subject is so stunning, you can't imagine how they mesmerize you. They mesmerize you and create confidence in you. You'll be amazed that in sahajayoga now, those we have been working for so many years. Of course, I'm a little shy of publicity, because sometimes I think if you publicize too much, we'll get all kinds of wrong people. But still, whatever publicity we have been making, we have not been able to attract so many people as these fake gurus have been. Though they take lots of money, people pay them money, do all kinds of things. Despite that, people have been going to them. The reason is they have mesmerizing power. They just mesmerize you. Now how the mesmerism starts? See, even from when we are very religious people, mesmerism can start. Like you go to the temple. The gentleman who is sitting there will sell you some sort of a thread. You will be amazed that thread itself may mesmerize. Then you will go to the same temple. Every time you must go. If you do not go, you feel very funny. All that, you will give money to this man. Till you will discover that something has gone wrong with you. Your memory has gone off. You can't think. Something is going wrong in your brain. The brain starts degenerating when you get into